So I often get asked about what kind of computer I have, what my settings are, and what CC or mods do I use to get my game to look as good as it does. So I thought maybe I would make a video just going over everything. That way when people ask in the future, I can just send them this video and then, you could just get all the information in one go. In the past, a lot of people have asked me about what kind of computer I have, and I would tell them and I would just give them all my specs. But more recently, I've kind of been hesitant about answering that question. And it's not because I want to gatekeep or anything, it's just that my parts were kind of older, and I would have hated for y'all to go out and buy what I have, and then you find out later down the line that you could have just got something better, probably for cheaper or something. I was kind of hesitant about like how to answer that, but more recently I have upgraded my PC a little bit, so I kind of want to go over some of my updated specs. So I bought my PC from a company called Skytech. I can leave a link to their website. This video was not sponsored, by the way. It's just, the brand of my computer. I haven't really had any issues with my PC. It's done me well over the past 5 years. I got this PC in 2020, and when I first got it, it had a NVIDIA 1060 graphics card. It came with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and my CPU was a Ryzen 5, I think 1600, something like that. And overall, it's done me well, but over the years, I've realized that I needed a little bit more power and a little bit more RAM and just a little bit more, almost everything. So I have upgraded some things over the years. So the first thing that I wanted to upgrade on my PC was the RAM. I needed more RAM for video games, for making videos. So I went from 8 gigabytes of RAM to 16 gigabytes of RAM. So I got my RAM sticks from Amazon. This is what the box looks like. I kept the original box. You probably can't really see it, but it is the Vengeance RGB Pro, and it's by Corsair. And I have the DDR4 two 8 gigabyte sticks, which equals 16, and it's 3200 megahertz. That is what I'm currently using right now on my computer. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, when I got new RAM, it just was like things were just snappier. I do want to get more in the future. Maybe getting like 32 gigabytes would be nice, but as of now, it's serving me pretty good. That was like the first thing I upgraded, and then more recently I got a new graphics card, which I'm so happy about still, y'all. Like I'm telling like everybody this all the time, but it is so good. So I went from a 1060 to an NVIDIA 4060. Y'all, the 4060 is way better than 1060. I'm sorry, it is. Like, it's like almost night and day. This new graphics card can do ray tracing. I haven't even tested it out yet, but like, it can do a lot of cool things. And it's a lot more powerful than my old graphics card. Like, for reference, one of my viewers, Blythe, gifted me Until Dawn back in November of 2024, and it's like a story-based game, but it's like very demanding, especially with the cutscenes. And my old graphics card could run the game, but it really couldn't run it that well. And in games like that, you have to do like quick time events, like hit a button at a certain time to like make the character do something that's important. And if you mess up, your character could die or get hurt. So imagine my 1060 trying to handle a really big demanding game. It was not really that good. It was kind of like playing a slideshow. It was really choppy. Some things were smooth, but a lot of things weren't. And I just didn't do that good at the game. But y'all, for reference, the new graphics card, I was able to play Until Dawn with no issues. Like, it's just like night and day, okay? Very much night and day. So those are like my two big upgrades that I've done for my PC. I still want to get another CPU at some point, something a little bit more powerful, a little bit more snappy. But usually with CPU stuff, you usually have to get like a new motherboard or something, and I just don't want to do all that right now. What I have currently is compatible, everything works, so I'm kind of happy about that. But I will say, regardless of what PC stuff you get, please make sure that the parts are compatible, especially if you are building one or if you're upgrading like I just did. Make sure whatever it is that you're trying to buy or you want to buy, one, you want to make sure that it is the right fit for you, and you also want to make sure that it's compatible with what you are building or what you currently have. There's a lot of websites out there that can help you pick out parts, or maybe go to a local technician if you have one. Just always ask and do research before you buy computer stuff, because PC things can be very expensive, especially nowadays. So please just do your due diligence and do research as much as you can. I'm not a PC pro. I have to ask my friends questions all the time, but I know a lot more now than I did when I first got a computer, if that makes sense. So yeah, those are basically my PC things. As of now, I still have the Ryzen 5 1600 CPU. Again, it's not the best, but it's working and I like it, okay? I do have an upgraded graphics card. So I currently have an NVIDIA 4060 graphics card, and then I also have 16 gigabytes of RAM. It is the Vengeance RGB Pro, and it is by Corsair, so you could probably find it on Amazon. So yeah, that's currently what I have as of now. Maybe in the future it might be different, but as of now, this is what I have. So that is basically like the PC stuff out the way. Now I want to get into my game settings, because sometimes, especially when I'm streaming, people will ask me like, CJ, can you show your settings? Because I want to see like what you have, so maybe I can try to get it to work for my game, or like see if it works better in my game. So really quick, we're just going to go over to the game options, and I'm just going to look at the settings. So as of now, this is kind of what my settings have been on for the longest time. This is kind of what it was on when I had my old graphics card. I haven't really changed anything that much to see a big difference yet. This is just kind of what I've always used, if that makes sense. So overall, you can see that I have most things up on high or very high if it goes that high. There are some things that aren't quite as high. So for example, I have my reflection quality for mirrors and waters. It tells you right here that it controls the quality of reflections on water and mirrors. Higher settings may negatively affect game performance. So it's basically just for the mirrors and the water in the game. I don't really have this on super. I just kind of keep it on mirrors and water. I feel like it doesn't really need to be that high anyway, you know, and I don't really notice a difference with it not being super high to begin with. So for me, I just kind of keep mine here. It's like almost as high as it can go, but not quite. And then I also have my edge smoothing turned off. So edge smoothing is kind of what it sounds like. It just makes the edges of buildings and things in the game seem more crisp and not jaggedy or pixelated. The reason why I have mine turned off is because I use a program called ReShade. It's kind of like ReShade if you've heard of it before. In a lot of the shaders that I use, it'll tell you to turn off your edge smoothing. I think it's just so the game can like run smoother or something. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, I have mine turned off, but you can't really tell. I don't know if it shows up different in the video, but you can't really tell that I don't have it turned on because I have my ReShade turned on, you know. Also with tree detail, this is not on super high either, because I just feel like my trees don't need to be that high to begin with. I feel like if anything, it makes the game lag more. I don't know if that's true. I just kind of always felt that way. Again, I haven't tested it out since I've gotten the new graphics card, so it might be different, it might be better, I don't know. But to me, my trees look good enough, right? Like, I don't really see that much of a difference. Maybe it'll be a little bit crisper if I turn it up to high, but I don't really care that much usually. I think it looks good enough for me. So for me, I don't really have that turned up that high either. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the high detail lots. As you can see, I have this on 2. Sometimes I have it on 1, or sometimes I'll have it on 3. So for high detail lots, it's basically the game's way of rendering the buildings and houses and things around you. So if I kind of go over to my house right now, you can kind of see that the house beside us is not rendered really. It's kind of like blurry. It's not like loaded in. The fence is kind of blurry. The house over here is kind of blurry. The house beside us is kind of rendered in, but a lot of the things in the surrounding area won't be. Like for this house, for example. The thing about high detail lots is that when you turn it up high, so we're just going to put it on 8 for a second. When you turn it up as high as it can go, or if you turn it up to a certain point, it'll start to render in the houses and, you know, the fence and stuff like that all around you. In my opinion, it's not really necessary to have it up high all the time, because for me anyway, when I'm playing the game, I'm more so looking at my sim. I don't really care about the house beside me. I'm not looking at what my neighbors are doing. I don't care about how the world looks down the street, because I'm more so focused on what my sim is doing. So for me, I don't really ever turn up my high detail lots unless I'm taking a screenshot. Especially when it comes to world overviews, I'll usually go to the map mode, hit the tab button, and I'll kind of like zoom down. As you can see, it's still kind of choppy. That's just The Sims 3 for you. But yeah, like I just feel like it doesn't really need to be this high. But it does help when you want to take a nice screenshot, you know, like see it's loading everything in, it's kind of rendering it. So if you want to take like high quality screenshots, maybe turn it up. But I would always say if you don't need to have it turned on, don't turn it on. Also, I don't know about y'all, but I like to see my Sims drive to places. And I feel like whenever you have high detail lots turned up really high, if you have the camera following your Sim like in a car, it just makes it more like stuttery, I feel like. So usually I have it turned off and I just like to follow my Sims, and it makes the ride a lot smoother, you know. So yeah, this is just how it looks when it's turned down to 2. Usually I have mine on 3 or 4, but more recently I've just been turning it down to 2, you know. I don't really need it to be that high personally. Oh, and I almost forgot, the last thing I want to talk about is my screen settings. So because I use OBS to capture my gameplay footage for videos and streaming, it's something about The Sims 3 and The Sims Medieval. I don't know what it is, but these games, when you have them in full screen with OBS, it makes them appear a lot darker. If I turn full screen on, and I'm going to go to my refresh rate, I'm just going to put it on 75. If I turn these two things on, you can kind of see that the game itself looks a lot darker. I'm not going to lie, y'all, it runs a little bit smoother, but it makes the game look a lot darker in OBS. I still do not know why that is. I don't know if anyone's ever explained it. So what I do in most content creators do, we just turn off full screen mode and we just play the game in window mode. And as you can see, when I put the game back in window mode, it's just back to being bright, you know. I still don't know what causes that. It's just something about Sims 3 and Sims Medieval. I don't know. But yeah, so that's basically all of my gameplay settings. So last but not least, we'll go over a couple of mods I use, because I do use quite a bit of mods to get my game to look extra crisp and nice, you know? So like I said earlier, I personally use G-Shade, but I recommend y'all use ReShade. The best way that I can explain it is that it's a program that allows you to put filters on your game. So if I go back to my Sims 3 for a split second, I have my G-Shade turned on, right? And the preset that I'm using is the Dove 2.0 preset by Kindle Spice. If I turn it off for a second, as you can see, my game is a little bit darker, you know, still bright, but it's a little bit darker. But if I turn it back on, there's a slight difference, you know, so off, on, right? It's a slight difference. So to do that, I'm using ReShade, but more importantly, I'm using a preset, or a shader. This is the Dove 2.0 preset. It is by Kindle Spice. This one is probably my favorite one, or at least it's in my top 3. This one is just, to me, one of the best ones to get. It was made for The Sims 4, but I use it for The Sims 3, so this is like the before how Sims 4 looks. Usually, and then this is how it looks when you have it turned on. It just makes the game look a lot brighter, more vibrant and stuff. This was made for The Sims 4. However, I'm able to use it for The Sims 3 and also The Sims 2. I just really like this preset. It's the one that I've been using the most out of all the other ones. So just know that this is not a lighting mod, so you are going to need the ReShade or G-Shade program to get these to show up. If you want to know how to install ReShade, there's a lot of tutorials out there on how to get it set up. But these are just like the shaders that I'm using, okay? So I do have another preset that I really like to use. This one is Elanora by Talented Trait, and this one is also on Tumblr, but I really like the way this one looks. It makes the game brighter, but to me, it also makes the game look a little bit more washed out. I don't really know how to describe it, but it looks so good. I use it for Sims 4, and I also use it for The Sims 3. I haven't tried it out for The Sims 2. Sometimes you'll notice that, like, not all shaders work for every single game, but it does work for Sims 3 and The Sims 4. I'm not sure about Sims 2 or anything like that, but I quite like this one. If we go back to The Sims 3 for a second, I'll go and like change it. So I'm still using Dove 2.0, but if I go over and I go down to Elanora, listen, y'all, I have a lot of shaders. Just ignore this, okay? If we go to Elanora, you can see it kind of just makes the game look even more bright, in my opinion. I think it looks really nice too if it's cloudy or like when the sun is coming up. I just think it looks so beautiful. Like, oh my gosh, it's almost like a lighting mod, right? Yeah, I just really like this one also. Like, it just looks so good. So if I turn it off for a second, this is how the game normally looks, but if I turn it back on, it just has like a little extra pop. You may not can tell a big difference from the video, but from looking at my monitor, it's almost like night and day. It just makes it look so much brighter, y'all. So I have another preset that I want to bring up really quick. This one is one that I really like. I don't use it as much as I used to, but it's so good. I used to use it like all the time back in the day. This one is the Boho Dreams preset by Nixel, and I love this one. So to me, this one makes the game look more fall-like. So this is how it looks when it turned on. This is how it looks when it turned off. I don't know what it is, but this one just looks so good to me. In both the Sims 3 and Sims 4, it just makes the game look more fall-like, or more like autumnal, if that makes sense. So like, this is how it looks when it turned on. It just kind of makes things a lot more vibrant. This is how it looks when it turned off. It's kind of dark, you know, so it makes it a lot more brighter and a lot more vibrant. If I open up my game and change my shader, maybe you can see a bigger difference. So this is how it looks when it's turned on. It makes the game look more autumn. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It just looks more autumnal. It's a little bit darker, but it just kind of has like that fall aesthetic, you know? This shader was made for Sims 4, but I'm using it for Sims 3. So if I turn it off, this is how it looks when it turned off. This is how it looks when it's turned on. It just looks more autumn-like, kind of like Tumblr aesthetic, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, it looks really nice, especially in the fall time in game, you know? So as you saw earlier, I use a lot of ReShade and G-Shade presets, but these are like the top 3 I would say go download right now, you know? Like, I just really love these. But aside from the ReShade and G-Shade presets, I do also use a lighting mod in The Sims 3. So the lighting mod that I've been using probably the longest is the Perfect Day default lighting mod. This one is by Burnt Waffle. I always talk about this one. It's just literally one of my favorite ones of all time. As you can see, it just makes everything brighter. It gives your sky some nice clouds. I just really like this one a lot. So if you go down here, you'll see that there's different types of the same lighting mod. So you'll see like right here, for example, it'll say download Perfect Day lighting mod 4.0 with Roaring Heights water. And then down here, it'll say Sunlit Tides water, Isla Paradiso. So in a lot of the Sims 3 worlds, you know, the water will sometimes look a little bit different. It'll have like just different effects on it or whatever. So this is basically the lighting mod itself with the water looking how it does in other Sims 3 worlds. So for example, I have the Island Paradise water. So that water is like really blue and vibrant. I can show you what it looks like in my game real quick. So I turned off my G Shade for a second just so you can see. So this is how my water looks. It's the Isla Paradiso cool blue tone. This is just my lighting mod. As you can see, I have those same clouds as the screenshot. It just looks a lot brighter, you know, it just helps the Sims 3 look more vibrant, because the Sims 3 can kind of be a dark game in terms of like the lighting and stuff because it's so old. But you know, this just makes the game bright. So even if you don't want to use G-Shade or ReShade, or you don't know how to set it up, you could just get by with the lighting mod. So this is the sky, the scenery, the water. Like I said, if we go back to the list, there's different types of water that you can download. So if you want your water to look like sunlit tides, you know, there's that version. There's also a version with the sunlit tides water and auroras. I don't remember if I have the ones with auroras, but I know that I do have the Isla Paradiso water. So I'm pretty sure I just have this one right here if you're wondering. Now, I don't know if you have to have these worlds installed in order for the lighting mod to work. I'm not really for sure. I have every Sims 3 store world in it, every expansion pack, so I don't really have to worry about it. But I don't know if you have to have these installed. I don't know if you have to have, like, for example, Roaring Heights to get the water to show up. I'm not for sure, but I guess you could test it out just to see. But the big thing about lighting mods is, like it says down here, remember to only pick one. It's a default lighting. So if you have two installed, only one of them is going to show up. So what I like to do is just swap them out every so often. So this one is the one that I've been using for the longest time, but I used to use this one a long time ago, the Blue Skies and Sunshine lighting mod. This one is also by Burnt Waffle. I don't know, sometimes I'll just get tired of one of them and I'll swap them out. So I sometimes swap these two around for each other, but just remember, you can only have one lighting mod installed at one time. If you have two, only one is going to show up. I don't think it'll break your game or anything like that, but just only have one installed, you know? But yeah, this is also another good one that I like to use, and I do not remember which one I used to use. I think I might have had like Monte Vista water probably, but I don't remember like what one I used to use. I don't remember. But yeah, so yeah, I'll leave this one linked down below too if you want to check this one out. But there's a lot of lighting mods for The Sims 3. So the next mod that I want to talk about is the modern map tags. So this mod was made by Vesco Sims 3, and this mod just attempts to make the map tags a lot more HD. So if you don't have the mod installed, this is just how your map tags look. You know, they're nice. They're just kind of like, you know, shiny, and they look very 2009, if that makes sense. So if you have the mod installed, these just make them look a lot more flat, a lot more modern. Think of like an app or something you would see on a website. So if I go back to my game for a second and we go into map mode, as you can see, it just makes them look a lot more modern. They do look a little bit more washed out, but yeah, it just makes them look a little bit more modern. I know sometimes people ask me like, CJ, why does your map look different from mine? And that's pretty much why. I just have a mod for it. You may have seen me talking about this mod before because I have brought it up in a previous video, but this is how I get my map tags to look a little bit different if you were wondering. So the next mod that I use is for my textures and terrain. So this is the Sims 3 HD Texture Series Terrain Pack, and this mod is by Lorelei. I love this mod because it just makes your textures and terrain look more HD. So if we zoom into this picture, this is how your roads normally look just by default. I mean, they look pretty good, right? Nothing really too wrong with them. But when you do have the mod install, I don't know if you can really tell a difference from the video, but it does make the roads look more HD. So this is the before, this is the after. They just look a little bit darker, more textured. So if we go over here, this is how the EA terrain looks by default. Nothing wrong with it, right? Like, it looks pretty okay. But if I go back over here to, let's say, the picture with the 4K, it just makes it look brighter, more crisp. It just looks a lot better in my opinion, you know? And this also covers like the stone. It also covers the grass texture, the road. So this is like how it looks after. This is like a before, so it's a lot more gray and washed out. And then when you have the mod, it's just a lot darker, you know? It just looks better, you know? So there's different versions of this mod. This is the 4K edition. Now, I do not have the 4K one installed. I think I have the 2K one installed. And then it also has like a 1K as well. So if you scroll down, it kind of just says like, should you download the 4K? And so it says right here, only download the 4K version if you have a beefy GPU, preferably 8 gigabytes and up of VRAM. So there's like different requirements that you're supposed to have before you download it. I'm pretty sure that I just have the 2K version. There's also like a 1K as well, but you know, it'll just tell you down here, you know, if you want to like make sure, but I'm pretty sure I just have the 2K edition of it. If I go back to my game for a second, I know I do have my, you know, my lighting mod, and it's really bright in my game. My road does look gray, but trust me, I have it installed. I also have it over here for my grass. Like, it just looks more HD, you know? So again, this only really affects the roads and the terrain paint and the terrain in the game. It doesn't change anything for the trees. There is a mod that updates the trees and plants. I will leave that link down below if you want to check it out. So the mod that makes the trees and the plants look more HD is by Asabin Sims. And this just attempts to make the trees and the plants in the game look more HD. I'm not for sure if every single last plant in the game has been updated just yet, but I do know that a lot of the base game trees and plants do look a little bit different. So if this mod is something that you want to check out, I'll leave it linked down below. I used to have this installed. I think I might have taken it out by accident. I just forgot to install it. So I need to reinstall it. But yeah, I've also used this mod too, and it works pretty good. It just makes the trees and the plants look more HD. So if this is something that you want to also check out, I'll leave it linked down below. Just know that I currently don't have it installed, but I did. I believe it also changes like the plants and stuff in the game too, like the apple trees and stuff like that as well. So yeah, if you want to check out this mod, I will leave a link down below as well. So the next couple of mods that we're going to be talking about work in tandem. So the first one I'm going to bring up is the higher quality headline effects for The Sims 3. This one is by Shah Simla, and this one just makes the thought bubbles look more HD, more crisp. Right here, this is how it looks by default. As you can kind of see, it's kind of jagged. It's not really HD. The mod right here just attempts to fix it so it makes it more smoother, more rounded. I don't know if you can really tell from the screenshot, but if we scroll down here, you can kind of see a before and after. So like right here, if you look close, it's kind of jagged. So if we kind of, I can't really like zoom in really because like the way that Tumblr works, but if you look closely or try to look, maybe go to the webpage, you can kind of see the original thought bubbles are just kind of pixelated, kind of jaggy, just because it's an old game, you know. But the mod just tries to smooth these out, make them look more HD. Same thing for like the little anger bubble right here, you know, it's kind of jagged. This just makes it look smoother. It's just basically upscaled, if that makes sense. So again, this is by Shah Simla. I really like this mod. I've been using it for the longest time. I have it in my game right now. So this mod is really good to have, but it also works in tandem with another mod. So this is the high quality headline effects and more, and this one is by Protect Us CZ. So this mod basically just upscales the pictures that are in the thought bubbles. So if I click up here, maybe you can kind of see, I kind of zoomed in a little bit. So let's see, this right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. I'm looking at the body over here in the corner. So as you can see, this is how the picture normally looks. It's just kind of blurry. It's not really that bright and vibrant. But if you look right beside it, it looks a little bit more HD. You can kind of see what it is. Same thing with like the faces with the tongue hanging out. Again, you can't really see my mouse, unfortunately, but just, you know, I'm just looking at the faces. You can kind of just tell, right? One is blurry, one is not really that blurry. So yeah, so right now, this is the high quality headline effects. So as you can see, these are like the HD pictures and thought bubbles. And this is how it looks if you just have a vanilla game. So, you know, it's okay, but it's just not as vibrant, not as HD, you know? You can really tell with these like friendship things. So this right here is like the vanilla game without any mods installed. As you can see, it's like kind of blurry and pixelated. It just makes it look more crisp if you have the mod installed, you know? So I'm gonna leave both of these mods as well as everything that we talked about linked down below. But I think on that note, y'all, that's pretty much every single mod that I use in my game to get it to look as good as it does. I am really satisfied with how my game looks. So I'm gonna leave every single mod as well as the shaders for ReShade and G-Shade that I've used linked down below. I really love the way my games look, so, and I know some of y'all do too, so hopefully this video can help someone out there. But anyway, y'all, that is all that I have for this video. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment something down below. Follow me over on Twitch where I stream a lot more of The Sims, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Thanks for watching!